It was a bright August morning when 19-year-old Tiana Brooks stepped out of her family's small home in Atlanta. The air was warm and still, the sun already climbing high as she adjusted her cleaning gloves in the passenger seat of her car. It was her first day back at work after a short break. 2 weeks spent celebrating her birthday and relaxing with her mother and younger sister. For most teenagers, $200 a day sounded unreal, but Tiana had managed to make it happen. She worked as a high-end house cleaner for wealthy clients who trusted her precision and professionalism. Every floor she scrubbed and every chandelier she polished reflected the quiet determination that kept her pushing toward a better life. That morning, she moved quickly, double-checking her cleaning kit, her phone charger, and a sandwich wrapped in foil for lunch. She was headed to a new address in Milton, Georgia, a quiet, picture-perfect suburb with tree-lined streets and sprawling homes that looked more like resorts than houses. Her client, a man named Dr. Samuel Greene, had contacted her through a referral from a previous customer. The job sounded simple: one full-day cleaning in a large property before the owner returned from a supposed trip. She had done similar jobs dozens of times before. Before driving off, Tiana posted a short clip on her private social media, smiling at the camera. "Back to the grind," she wrote in the caption. It was routine for her to share small glimpses of her workdays with friends. None of them could have guessed it would be the last time anyone saw her alive. As she drove toward Milton, the roads grew quieter, the houses larger, and the air heavier with that strange calm that sits over wealthy neighborhoods. By the time she arrived at Haven Ridge Lane, the sun was bright enough to cast hard shadows on the driveways. The house she was assigned to stood at the end of a cul-de-sac, surrounded by trimmed hedges and a white stone path leading to a double-glass door. Tiana sent a text to her best friend. "This house is huge and kinda creepy, LOL." It was 9:04 a.m. She took one last sip of her coffee, grabbed her cleaning supplies, and walked toward the front door. The lockbox code provided by the agency worked without issue. Inside, the house was silent, too silent. The air smelled faintly of disinfectant and something metallic. The rooms were spotless, as if no one had lived there for weeks. Tiana unpacked her tools in the kitchen and began wiping the counters, humming softly to herself. Around noon, a neighbor's security camera caught a glimpse of her car still parked outside. Nothing unusual appeared in the footage. No visitors, no noise, just a quiet suburban street on a sunny day. What happened after that remains uncertain. Tiana never called home that evening. Her phone stopped responding, and the cheerful clip she had posted that morning became the haunting final trace of a young woman who had walked confidently into her first day back at work and never came home. Again. As the evening shadows stretched across the neighborhood, worry began to creep into the Brooks household. Tiana's mother, Denise, sat by the kitchen window, glancing at her phone every few minutes. Her daughter always called after work, no matter how tired she was. By 8:30 p.m., that call still hadn't come. Denise tried to convince herself that maybe Tiana had taken an extra shift or gone out for dinner with a friend. But the uneasy silence in the house told her otherwise. She dialed Tiana's number over and over, but each attempt went straight to voicemail. The last known location from the family's phone tracker showed her still at the address on Haven Ridge Lane. Denise decided to drive there herself, her heart pounding the entire 30-minute journey. The streets of Milton were quiet and polished, the kind of place where nothing bad was ever supposed to happen. When she turned into Haven Ridge Lane, she spotted her daughter's small blue car parked neatly in the driveway of a gray 2-story house. Relief briefly washed over her, but it vanished just as quickly when she realized all the lights inside the house were off. She knocked on the door, calling out her daughter's name, but there was no answer. After several minutes, she called 911. When the police arrived, they found the front door unlocked. Inside, the air was still, and the faint smell of cleaning products lingered. A bucket of supplies stood near the kitchen counter, everything arranged neatly as if she had just stepped away for a moment. A half-eaten sandwich sat on the counter beside a cracked phone that appeared to have been dropped recently. There were no signs of forced entry. To anyone else, it looked like a normal workday interrupted, but the silence in that house felt wrong. Detectives moved carefully through the rooms, noting the absence of personal belongings. Upstairs in the master bedroom, things were different. A lamp had been knocked over, a vase shattered, and faint streaks of what appeared to be blood trailed toward the back of the house. The bedspread was rumpled as if someone had struggled on it. They followed the trail through a hallway that led to a glass door opening to the backyard. Behind the house, near the edge of the property line where the grass met a thick patch of trees, officers discovered something beneath a tarp partially covered with dirt. The shape underneath was unmistakable. When they pulled it back, their flashlights illuminated the lifeless body of Tiana Brooks. The scene was quiet except for the low hum of crickets and the distant sound of radios crackling as more units arrived. The coroner confirmed what no one wanted to believe. Tiana had suffered blunt force trauma with multiple injuries to her head and neck. Her watch had stopped at 12:47 p.m., possibly the time of death. The brutality of the attack shocked investigators. It was personal, violent, and deliberate. As officers cordoned off the scene, Denise stood by the police car, unable to move, unable to speak. The young woman who had left home that morning full of life and ambition had been found brutally taken from the world before the day was even. Detectives began digging into every detail surrounding the house and the man listed as the property owner, Dr. Samuel Greene. He was a 47-year-old cosmetic surgeon with clinics in Atlanta and Miami, known for working with wealthy clients and influencers. According to public records, Greene had purchased the Milton property just 6 months earlier. At first glance, he seemed successful. Expensive cars, luxury vacations, and glowing online reviews from patients. But as investigators looked closer, the story began to unravel. The first red flag appeared when they tried to reach him. His office claimed he was on a conference trip in California, but there were no flight records, no hotel bookings, and no credit card transactions confirming that. Detectives contacted his assistant, who admitted she hadn't spoken to him in over a week and had assumed he was taking personal time. The longer Greene stayed unreachable, the more suspicious it seemed. Forensic analysis of the home revealed more questions. There were no fingerprints other than Tiana's and Greene's, yet the house didn't look lived in. The refrigerator was empty except for bottled water, and every cabinet was spotless. It appeared to be a staged residence, used for purposes other than a home. In the garage, officers found cleaning equipment identical to Tiana's but brand new, still in packaging. It was as if someone had prepared for her visit in advance. When detectives examined the referral that booked Tiana for the job, things grew stranger. The cleaning agency she'd been hired through, Pure Luck Services, didn't exist. Its website had only one page with no contact information, no business registration, and an address that led to an abandoned office lot. The email that communicated with Tiana came from an encrypted domain. It became clear that whoever arranged the job had gone to great lengths to hide their identity. Neighbors on Haven Ridge Lane reported seeing Tiana's blue car that morning, but couldn't recall anyone else entering the house. However, a few hours later, a white delivery van was caught on a doorbell camera driving slowly down the street. It stopped briefly at Greene's driveway around noon, stayed for less than 15 minutes, then left. Detectives traced the license plate to a cleaning supply company that had gone out of business 2 years earlier. The phone number listed under the company's name was disconnected. Investigators also discovered that the house wasn't registered directly to Dr. Greene, but to a shell company called SG Holdings LLC, which was connected to an offshore account in the Cayman Islands. This meant Greene was using layers of legal protection to conceal ownership. The financial trail showed that large cash transfers had been made to anonymous accounts in the months before Tiana's death. Detectives now believed that Greene had intentionally lured Tiana to the property under false pretenses. The pristine house, the fake company, and the mysterious van all pointed toward a calculated setup. But with the suspect missing and the trail growing colder by the day, one haunting question remained unanswered. Why would a respected surgeon go to such extremes to target a teenage cleaner who had only come to do her job? When investigators returned to the house for a more thorough search, they were determined to uncover whatever secrets it still held. The first walkthrough had been focused on evidence of the crime scene, but now forensic teams examined every inch of the building, from the attic to the foundation. It was during this second sweep that a technician noticed something strange in the living room wall, a faint outline of a door frame hidden behind a decorative panel. The measurements of the house didn't align with its interior layout, suggesting there was an extra space not shown on the blueprints. Using specialized tools, they pried open the panel and discovered a narrow staircase leading down to a small, soundproofed basement. The air was stale and cold. Inside was a single room with cement walls, a metal table bolted to the floor, and a series of shelves filled with medical supplies. syringes, bandages, vials, and surgical gloves. On one wall, a large monitor displayed multiple camera feeds showing various parts of the house. Whoever had used the room had been able to watch everything happening upstairs in real time. The team froze when they saw what was on the table: traces of dried blood and a few strands of long, dark hair later confirmed to be Tiana's. Her fingerprints were found on the edge of the metal surface, as though she had tried to pull herself up or resist. A small section of the floor was stained, and beneath it, forensic lights revealed signs of attempted cleaning with chemical agents. Someone had tried to erase what happened there but hadn't succeeded. Fingerprints collected from the shelves and monitor matched Dr. Samuel Greene. That discovery turned the case from a suspicious death into something far more disturbing. Investigators realized the house wasn't a home at all. It was a controlled environment designed for something darker. Greene had constructed a secret operating room, complete with hidden surveillance, high-end medical tools, and reinforced locks. It was the kind of setup that required time, money, and expertise to build without attracting attention. When detectives obtained a warrant for Greene's downtown condo, the full picture began to emerge. Inside his apartment, they found an assortment of personal items belonging to several missing women from nearby states: handbags, pieces of jewelry, and phones, each carefully stored in separate boxes. Many of these women had disappeared under similar circumstances, often while working in service jobs like cleaning or caregiving. Police now suspected Greene had been running a long-term operation, targeting young women through false job offers and using his medical background to control and harm them. Digital. Forensics uncovered encrypted messages suggesting he was part of an online network that traded personal data of vulnerable women for profit. Authorities traced some communications to servers overseas, but by the time they tried to track his location, Greene had already vanished. His bank accounts were emptied, his luxury cars sold off quietly, and his phone signal last pinged near the Georgia-Alabama border. The hidden room became the chilling centerpiece of the investigation, a silent witness to what had been happening inside that beautiful suburban house. It revealed a side of Dr. Samuel Greene no one had seen, not a successful surgeon, but a man who had used his intelligence and reputation as a mask for something monstrous. Months passed, and the murder of Tiana Brooks grew into a national obsession. News outlets ran her photo, a smiling young woman with bright eyes and dreams far larger than her small Atlanta home, alongside images of the elegant gray house where she had been found. Protesters gathered outside Dr. Greene's clinic, demanding justice, while online communities speculated endlessly about his disappearance. Despite the intense attention, investigators had almost nothing new to go on. Every lead ended in another dead end, every trace of Greene carefully erased. It was as if he had planned his disappearance long before the crime took place. The FBI officially took over the case, expanding the search nationwide. Airports and border checkpoints were alerted, and Greene's passport information was circulated globally. Yet weeks later, his trail went completely cold. Financial records revealed that he had withdrawn nearly $250,000 in cash just days before the murder. Surveillance footage showed him entering a private storage facility, carrying 2 large suitcases, but he never returned for them. When the units were searched, they were found empty except for an old operating mask and a burned phone. Tiana's family held a candlelight vigil on what would have been her 20th birthday. Hundreds of people from across the city gathered to honor her memory, lighting candles and holding signs calling for accountability. Her mother, Denise, spoke briefly, her voice steady but hollow. She said she would never rest until the man responsible for her daughter's death was found. The community rallied behind her, creating a foundation in Tiana's name to help other young women working in private domestic jobs stay safe and traceable. Then, 8 months after the murder, a development reignited the investigation. A motel worker in Phoenix, Arizona, contacted local authorities after finding a blood-stained lab coat stuffed into a trash bin. The name tag read, Dr. S. Greene. It seemed impossible, but forensic tests confirmed the blood belonged to Tiana Brooks. The coat had been washed repeatedly, as if someone had tried to remove evidence before discarding it. Hotel staff recalled a man checking in under the name David Sloan, staying only one night and paying in cash. Surveillance footage captured a partial view of his face, blurred and partially covered by a baseball cap. But his height, build, and mannerisms matched Greene's description. Agents swarmed the area, checking nearby bus stations and car rentals, but the suspect had vanished again. Investigators believed he might have been using multiple fake identities, moving state to state, blending into the background as an ordinary traveler. Rumors circulated that he had undergone surgery to alter his appearance, a theory that, given his skills, seemed entirely possible. Years later, despite dozens of supposed sightings and countless tips, Dr. Samuel Greene was never captured. His name still appears on the FBI's most wanted list, and every few months, new theories surface about where he might be hiding. For Tiana's family, time has done little to ease the pain. Her mother keeps her daughter's cleaning gloves in a small frame by her bed, a silent reminder of the life that was taken too soon. Each year on the anniversary of her death, candles once again light up Haven Ridge Lane, flickering in the dark, symbolizing both grief and the unwavering hope that one day, justice will finally be served.